listening to Rise Awakenings, part of the Rise Radio Network where advice meets action.
We're here to spark your growth, lift your spirit, and help you crush your potential.
Rise awakening, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice, where dreams awaken in time. Rise awakening, now is the time.
Rise Awakenings, let's rise together.
Feel the hum beneath your skin, a pulse of light, let it begin. The night dissolves, the day will spin. Rise awakenings, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice, where dreams awaken and climb. Rise awakenings, now is the time. Echoes bloom, they bend and glide. A signal surging deep inside. From shadows grip, we rise and rise. Tune the whispers, find your way. Tomorrow starts with sound today. Rise awakenings, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice, where dreams awaken and climb. Rise awakenings, now is the time. Start with the quiet parts, the things you hide behind your laugh. Sit with the ache a while. Let every question breathe and ask, who was I trying to be? Who am I when I just stay? Name every tender scar and let them have their say. This is the blue from the soil of your sorrow. Petals from pain, new color in tomorrow. You walk through the dark with a soft, steady truth, holding your heart till your heart carries you. This is the blue. Pages
you playing small. Lay them out on the floor, see which ones never fit at all. Offer your younger self a kindness you never knew. Whisper you're safe with me and feel it turning true. This is the bloom from the soil of your sorrow. Petals from pain, new color in tomorrow. You walk through the dark with a soft, steady truth, holding your heart till your heart carries you. This is the blue. In the shadow you found treasure, in the breaking you found room. Every tear became a river, watering what's coming through. Now you rise not as perfection, but as someone deeply real. Every part you tried to silence learns it's finally allowed to heal. The stars that bloom from the soil of your sorrow. Petals from pain, new color in tomorrow. You walk through the dark with a soft, steady truth, holding your heart till your heart carries you. This is the This is the blue.
Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to The Bloom. If you are new here, the content shared in this podcast is based on my personal experience and knowledge that I've gained along my educational and healing journeys. The information is shared in the greatest degree of love and is intended to resonate with whoever it may to assist in your healing journey. Please feel free to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Remember, this is a judgment-free zone and a safe space, so please refrain from any form of bullying, harassment, or toxic behavior. If you cannot hold space with us, you will be removed. Chat questions will be answered in the order in which they are received and in relation to the topic. I will get to as many as time allows. If you feel called to dive deeper into your own personal situation, I am a transformational coach and a trauma specialist and a Reiki master teacher, as well as a fully ordained minister. And I'd be honored to guide you through your specific needs. And you can book time with me on my website, healingrose.org. Let's dive in. Whew, okay. Who are we in relation to others? A sister, a mother, a son, a friend, a coworker, a boss, an employee, a stranger, someone that's not yet been met by someone else. So who are we in relation to others? Why do we feel so disconnected, even though we're surrounded by people? And yet we feel connected as sensitive beings. Are we an insignificant part of the greater whole, or are we in our own little world right in front of us? How do we want to be received and perceived? How do we want to affect each other? How do we affect each other as a whole? How do you affect people around you? How do we want to show up as a whole? How do we want to show up from a heart-centered space of unconditional love and compassion? Let's dive into our identity, connection, and belonging so that we can learn how to be more centered and authentic and become who we are meant to be. Okay? We are relational beings. We don't exist in a vacuum. We exist in roles, reflections, and relationships. To one person, you're a safety. To another, you're a lesson. To someone else, you're a memory that shaped them forever. To a stranger, you're a passing presence that might quietly restore their faith in humanity. We are a daughter and someone's future ancestor, a friend and someone's turning point, a leader in one space and a beginner in another, a stranger who might become a soulmate or a catalyst. We are different versions of ourselves in different nervous systems. People don't just see us, they experience how they feel around us. So, in relation to others, we are mirrors, teachers, students, companions, catalysts, witnesses. And sometimes we are simply proof that they are not alone. Let's dive into why we feel disconnected even though we're surrounded by people. Because proximity is not the same as attuned. You can be in a room full of humans and still feel unseen if you're masking your real emotions, if no one is meeting you at your nervous system level, if conversations stay on the surface, if you are playing a role instead of being your true self. Disconnection is not about lack of people. It's about lack of being felt, heard, and known. Sensitive beings like you feel this more deeply because you're wired for emotional nuance, energetic awareness, and subtle shifts in presence. You don't just want interaction, you want resonance. And yet, we do feel connected as sensitive beings because connection isn't only social, it's energetic and existential. You might feel connected to the sky before a storm, the music that understands your heart, like the theme song for the Bloom, a stranger's tears, the collective grief or joy of the whole world. Sensitive people often feel connected to life itself, even when they don't feel connected to the people physically around them. It's not weird, it's expanded empathy. We are significant parts of a greater whole. We are. And this is a beautiful paradox because the question is, are we part of a greater whole or are we not? Yeah, we're both. And it's a beautiful paradox, okay? You're one human among billions and the only human who has ever existed with your exact perception, nervous system, memories, and soul signature. From a cosmic scale, we're tiny, itty bitty grains of sand. From an from experiential scale, we are an entire universe having a point of view. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean experiencing itself as a drop. Each of us lives inside a private universe of perception. No one else hears the world exactly as you do in your head. No one else interprets life through your exact emotional history. No one else dreams your dreams from the inside. So we are individual worlds, expressions of a shared ocean. Separation is a sensory experience. Connection is an existential truth. That's why we ache when we're feeling disconnected. And the ache it's proof that we're not alone. It's proof that we are designed for connection. Loneliness is a nervous system's way of saying, I'm built to bond. I'm meant to be known. It's not a flaw, it's a homing signal, guiding you towards spaces, people, and moments where your real self can land safely, where your real self can land safely. We are not here just to be someone in relation to others. We are here to experience being alive together, brief, beautiful, and imperfect. You're not insignificant. You're not separate. You're a living thread in a vast tapestry, and the tapestry would not be the same without your exact color woven through it. How do we want to be received and perceived? At the deepest level, most humans want to be experienced as safe, kind, genuine, respectful, loving, seen as who we truly are, not just as the roles that we play. We want people to feel I can relax around them, right? I feel valued in their presence. I feel more like myself when I'm with them. That's all we want. Being perceived this way doesn't come from performance. It comes from inner alignment. When who we are inside matches how we show up outside, people feel coherence. That coherence feels like safety. So we are constantly, how we affect others as whole, we are constantly influencing one another emotionally, energetically, and neurologically, whether you're aware of it or not. A regulated nervous system helps regulate others. A harsh tone can tighten a room, right? How many times you walk into a room like, ew, I'm leaving, right? A calm presence can often soften conflict. One person's courage can give others permission to be real. So be as weirdo as you want to be, because it gives others permission. Humans co-regulate. We catch each other's states of being. So as a collective, we are either amplifying fear, division, and defensiveness, or we're spreading safety, compassion, and understanding. Every tiny interaction is a vote for the kind world that we live in, for the kind of world that we want to live in, honestly. You, especially as sensitive, heart-led people here in this group, likely affect people more than you realize. You probably help others feel emotionally seen. You notice shifts others miss. You bring calm when things feel chaotic. You offer warmth that makes people soften. Sometimes your impact is loud and obvious, and oftentimes it's quiet but lasting. A conversation someone replays later, maybe. A moment of kindness that shifts their day, perhaps. A feeling of being understood, though they just don't forget. Your presence teaches people what love and boundaries, awareness, and emotional depth look like. We do want to show up as a whole consciously. We want to move from how do I protect myself from others to how do I relate in a way that protects the connection. We need to value understanding over winning, repair over ego, curiosity over assumption, compassion over judgment. And showing up as a whole means remembering there is a nervous system, a history, and a heart inside every person you encounter. How do we show up from a heart-centered space of unconditional love and compassion? Well, it doesn't mean being passive or self-abandoning. It means letting love guide your way of being, not just your feelings. Here's what heart-centered presence looks like in practice. Slow down your reactions. Love lives in the pause. Compassion enters when we breathe before we respond. See the human behind the behavior. Instead of what's wrong with them, try what pain, fear, or need might be underneath this. Stay connected to your own heart first. You can't offer warmth if you've left yourself. And ask internally, can I stay soft and strong right now? Let your boundaries be loving, not punishing. Compassion includes you. No can be spoken with respect. Distance can be chosen without hatred. Lead with curiosity. Curiosity keeps the heart open. Ask, help me understand. What's this been like for you? Here's what it's like for me. Remember, love is a stance, not a mood. You don't feel loving all the time, but you can choose to act from dignity, care, and respect, even when it's firm. And the bigger truth, every time you choose to show up from the heart, you are quietly telling the world connection matters, understanding is possible, and love is still an option here. And that ripples always, always. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. This is just a suggestion, and you don't have to change the world. You really don't have to change the world. You just have to let the world feel what it's like when you are rooted in unconditional love and compassion. That is how the whole shifts. One regulated, open, courageous heart at a time. And yours is very much one of them. This is my message as you step into the final stages of this snake year and we move into the year of the fire horse coming up soon. Let's talk about this. How do you want to show up? In what ways are you struggling to step back and ask the right questions? How do you want people to perceive you? How do you feel like you're misunderstood? How do you want to shift how you're looking at things? I'm going to talk a little bit about self-discovery in this, because when we do keep an open heart, we end up learning about ourselves. I know I say often to ask yourself questions, which is fine, but I'm going to lean into ask other people what their experience is like. Their perspective and their experience may be something completely new and different for you. And so that's something that I want you to lean into in this new cycle that we're going through right now. Leaning into expanding yourself to learn about yourself through other people's experiences from a place of curiosity. Safety is huge for everyone. We all want to feel safe. So the first thing you have to trust is your inner self. Your true inner fire doesn't burn. I'm reading yours, Brindle Wolf. A true inner fire doesn't burn the room and people in it. It ignites their spirit. Thank you for saying that. But if we're not connected to that true inner self, we can't expand others. And if we're not open to hearing who others are and what their life is like and what experience shaped their perception and perspective, we're not going to learn more of who we truly are and who we want to be and how we want to show up. We make judgments very easily because it's the programming. I mean, last 2 weeks we talked about misogyny, and that's deeply conditioned in all of us. And are we asking the questions of, well, how does this make the other person feel? Am I showing up in a way that's safe? Is this making people leave my space? Thank you, Lunaria. There's that trying to view them as a small child being hurt and bullied before jumping to conclusions and handling things with kid gloves. Yes, right. We have to remind ourselves not to take everything personally. Other people's nervous systems are at play. And I think that's a huge message in this too. If you're not rooted and grounded in your own inner wisdom and giving yourself time to remember, I'm dealing with a stranger's or a friend's or a family member's nervous system. What shaped that nervous system? Let me pause and show up in a way that's going to be a lot more loving and gentle and kind. Because ultimately, we are all a small child wrapped up in a nervous system. Yes, we are all fire starters. We're going to melt them with love, Cash Angels. We're just going to melt everyone with the love and compassion that we bring to the table. But first, we need to find that for ourselves. So I want to, I think I want to focus on the greater message of get to know yourself. And the only way to do that is to show up different to begin with. Because in showing up different to begin with, you open yourself up to more information coming your way and attract more people coming your way. So that you're not like this hard, I got these ideas, I got this issues, and I'm only focused on me. That's the you inside your inner world. How many times we driving in the car and we're careless and we're thoughtless and somebody cut you off. Honey, their brain was on like next Friday night. Like they weren't even thinking of you. So, so we don't want to get caught up in our inner world to the point where we completely are desensitized to everyone around us and how we affect those around us. And I can give you examples, real world examples, like in my own experience personally. So you could shift the entire room just by changing the energy of one person. So I was online to pay for something at a store, and the woman in front of me was being unkind and impatient and frustrated and verbalizing all of that. Well, there's only one cashier. Where's the manager? I thought they were going to open up another register. And isn't their break over by now? You know, all of that kind of stuff was coming out of her mouth. And I don't normally get involved with people because that's not my business. But at the end of the day, she was right in front. She was right before me, and it was messing with my vibe. So I very gently and carefully said to her, I'm sure it's very frustrating. And she seems to be doing the best that she can working up there by herself. And it is the holiday season. And I know I heard the manager tell that person that they need to go on break because that's the law. And I know the manager's doing the best they can and in their circumstances for being short staffed. So they'll get to us when they can. I know it's frustrating. It's okay. And she totally shut up. So like, these are the little ways we can bring compassion to the table without interrupting what their nervous system is doing, whilst also being that soft place for their nervous system to recognize, oh, I must sound like a jerk right now. Okay, I better stop talking like this, without them feeling offended. So there's a way to communicate where you're not going to offend somebody. Even in random situations where you can just brighten up the whole room by doing something kind for someone else, like at a gas station pump, if you're in a state that you don't have to pump your own, or you do have to pump your own gas, which is most of them. So this doesn't apply to you, Brindle Wolf. Okay, I've done similar, but more help from employee regulate when they are stressed out. Yes. I mean, that's it. Even when you get to the cash register, I tell them, you're doing a great job. Don't worry. I know it's challenging right now. You're doing great. Saying that to the cashier helps big time. Absolutely. Another example of how you can show up in the world different for something that changes and brightens everyone's mood is just to do something kind. And it doesn't have to cost you anything. There was a woman in front of me who was trying to pay for the wrong pump. And I was 6 people behind her, but I could hear it. I stepped out of line and I said, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm parked behind you. Your pump is this number. You're going to pay for the wrong pump. And she questioned it. And she's like, really? And she looked and she was trying to figure it out. And when she figured out I was right, the whole store was like happy and talking. And it was like a big, like, hey, look at this nice thing that just happened. It shifted the entire energy because before that, people were just standing on line. Oh, okay, we got to go to work now. Let's hurry up. You know what I mean? So it's consciously showing up in different ways, consciously showing up in ways that bring compassion to the table, bring regulation to the table. Even if you're dysregulated yourself, you could still choose, if I show up differently here, it's going to make me feel better. So it's you can add that little self-centered piece in there for yourself, and recognizing that when you shift the energy around you, it helps you feel better too, because that's how you prove that you're connected to everybody, right? You do feel everyone's energy. You do recognize what they have going on and understand what that you're affected by it. So we have to, it's not selfish to make yourself feel better. Yes. Okay. So let's talk about this for a minute, because there's a piece of this that I'm going to bring up: abuse right now. How many times do we placate, de-escalate, and diminish our light to calm someone else's nerves selfishly because it makes us feel better, right? Selfishly because it makes us feel better. That's something that I wanted to touch upon real quick. And thank you for bringing that up, because that's not helping you. That's actually damaging you. So I don't want to confuse that. Let me make myself feel better with kindness in circumstances and situations that instead require your boundaries. Love without boundaries is toxic. Love without boundaries is self-destruction and self-abandonment. So showing up different doesn't require you to abandon yourself. You are required to keep yourself safe, though. So if that placation keeps you safe, try to do it in a way that doesn't self-abandon, meaning placating with calm and understanding that you're talking to a brick wall. If it's somebody who's abusive and hell-bent on misunderstanding you and making you feel destabilized, just walking away from that conversation, not entertaining it, not engaging it. You don't have to sacrifice yourself and put yourself under the bus and throw yourself to the wolves in that circumstance by trying to give them a satisfactory answer. That's self-abandonment. Your boundary can simply be, I'm not entertaining this conversation, and moving on and walking away. You have to secure your safety, though, because I understand in some situations that's not safe at all, and that could actually lead to some physical violence. So assess your situation and get out as fast as possible. And you're not required to self-abandon. You're not required to betray yourself. You just have to shift your technique, your strategy into more of facts, gray rocking, truth, relevance, and respectful, and gray rock. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. It's how to communicate with somebody. Cash Angel says, I'm a person who's just, let me read it. Okay. Person who's just, where am I? I am a person who just too loud, wishes persons that are grumpy and a very nice day when they're done. Yes. Yeah. Just wishing somebody a nice day when they're done being grumpy is absolutely fine. You don't have to get involved in other people's drama. You don't have to get involved in mediating any kind of circumstances or situations that you don't want to. You just need to make sure that your needs are being met. So I want you to make sure that your needs are always being met, which they're not going to be when you're in an abusive situation. So learn all the strategies that are available to you in order to help yourself through that. But at the end of the day, the more you get to know yourself and who you are as a person, the less you tolerate from outside of you. The more you want the spaces around you to feel like calm, to feel safe. So you start more being brave and creating that safety and creating that environment for yourself that you want. And in doing so, you are the pebble in the palm, the ripples. It's you. You are the pebble that gets thrown in the pond that creates the ripples of how people are near you and with you. So definitely get to know yourself and see who you are as a person genuinely, and allow yourself permission to see other people's perspectives. Arm yourself with the tools and the techniques and the strategies that you need to arm yourself with. And allow yourself permission to discover what fits you and what doesn't fit you. And if it makes you feel like crap and brings you down, it's not right. It's not safety. And it's not okay. And how does that, you being not okay, affect those around you, especially the ones that you love and want to show up for? Otherwise, we're just leaking our energy everywhere and leaking our love and kindness in the wrong directions, where it's being drained from us instead of us being enough to show up for our families and friends that we actually care about and want to show up for. So pay attention to who you are, so you know who you don't want to hang around with and who you won't tolerate. It's the learning about yourself brings you to an understanding of what you don't want in your space and what you won't allow in your space. The understanding is for you, because the more you understand yourself, the more you open yourself up with that compassion, the more you can be the change in the world and show up to the spaces and places. Leaking love can be like a crack in the gas line. Yes. And lighting a match. 100%. Thank you, Brindle. Absolutely. 100%. Because you don't realize you're leaking yourself out if you don't know yourself well enough. You have to get to know yourself in order to know, ooh, this feels like it's draining me. Oh, this doesn't feel comfortable for me. This feels like pay attention to how you feel. Let's talk about that. You feel tired, right? If you're leaking energy in situations, you feel exhausted, it's draining, right? And then you feel unsettled. You feel like a loss of control sometimes within yourself. You feel your nervous system respond in a way that tells you, I'm done for the day. I'm not doing this anymore, right? Instead of pushing through, let's address that and get to know how you're leaking your energy, because you may not realize overgiving is another example of leaking your energy and doing too much. Okay, so I'm not, Cash Angel says, okay, I'm not saying it is or was okay, but I definitely didn't give my abusers the feels of having won. Therefore, I de-escalated and made things worse. But at least they couldn't do something to me. No more. Yes, couldn't do anything to you anymore. And now you're here. Thank you. And they're not. Yes, absolutely. You don't have to sacrifice yourself. Just learn the techniques. Dissociated. Okay, thank you for correcting that. Because dissociation is huge. It's worse for you when you make dissociation your go-to, because that's checking out. That was my go-to. Total dissociation. Just check out and exist. And that's self-abandonment. It's hard and it takes courage to stand up for yourself in these kinds of circumstances, or implement the strategies that you need to implement in these types of circumstances. But we can do it in a way that will allow us to at least maintain our own regulated nervous system. In abusive situations, you're not going to regulate their nervous system. They have no intention of having a regulated nervous system because it brings them joy and they thrive on dysregulating yours. So that's a challenge. And that's why there's techniques and strategies on how to communicate with individuals who are just a brick wall with no, I call it a rubber wall. A rubber wall, they bounce things back onto you, right? With the Darvo, deflect blame. Self-love pisses off those who don't know what self-love is. That's okay. They don't have to know. That's their journey to learn. You're an example. It's not your job to explain it to them. You don't have to fix everyone. You start with you. You start with learning your inner world. You start with saying, I'm okay with not being liked. I'm perfectly healthy and fine with not being liked by everyone. You don't have to be. And quite frankly, there's billions of people in the world. Most of them are still traumatized and don't know it. So you don't want to sacrifice who you are and abandon and betray who you are to lift someone else up. That's another way you're leaking your energy. You're giving too much of yourself. Don't take things personally. Thank you, Brindle. Don't take things personally. And that's where that pause comes in, because if we're initially offended, why are we offended? I'll work on that myself later. I see that they're trying to be in a certain state of being, and I'm not trying to match what they got going on. I'm trying to maintain my peace, right? So I can't take personally their pain, their fear, their confusion and chaos is not mine to hold and not mine to resolve for them. So don't overextend yourself in any way to individuals who don't have the capacity to understand that they can't just get regulated by you. We co-regulate as humans, but that's by being the example of regulation, not by forcing our opinions on others. And with that lady online who was already dysregulated and spewing blah, blah, blah everywhere, I didn't match her energy and I didn't argue with her. I acknowledged her feeling and I expressed nothing but facts. That's it. That's all that I needed to diffuse her from that state of being. And she thereafter was in a much calmer state, recognizing that no one else is complaining but her. And now she's self reflecting. Again, that's not going to happen with someone abusive. So we're not talking about that part when it comes to that kind of thing. Why don't we take things personally anymore? Right? That's because we want to get ourselves to the place where you don't take anything personally, including from those that you truly love and adore. I was in a situation this weekend when we don't take things personally, we can immediately shift ourselves into a state of what's their nervous system, what's happening in their nervous system right now? How am I being experienced by that other person right now in their nervous system state? Is my behavior and thought patterns and actions part of their dysregulation? If so, okay, how can I instead step back and be more supportive in a way that is actually what their needs are, instead of dysregulating the person in addition to what she has going on, or he has going on, or they have going on. So it all begins and ends internally. And when you don't take things personally right out the gate, that's our own self-judgment and our own offensive, defensive reactions. When we pause and allow ourselves a moment to let the compassion come in and let that love sit in the pause for us, we can understand, oh, I am part of the problem in this particular circumstance and moment, and that's not my intention. So let me express, ooh, I totally see how I was received that way. And I am so sorry to add to this, whatever you're experiencing. Let me clarify for you and allow you to feel a different area. And I appreciate what you, and it's okay to feel frustrated with me. I am safe with your frustration with me. That's okay with me because I understand what you're going through. How can I support you instead? There's a shift that we can show up with when we don't take things personally right out the gate. So, and I could give you examples like that to communicate so that you know how to show up different. It's a learning, it's a language to learn. That's the other part of self-discovery in order to show up different. You need to learn the entire new language of healthy communication and I'm going to say professional communication because that's a hint when you are seeking in social medias and online and internet, what's a professional way to say that's an example of healthy communication that's not rude? Why we stick it to only professional corporate environments is beyond my scope of understanding. Why don't we communicate like that at home? There's nothing wrong with that communication. It's not disconnected. It's truth, relevance, kindness, respect. That's it. So open your mind to educating yourself, to learning a whole new language. And the parts of you that have to die in order to rise above it, you have to let those parts of you die. And those parts do feel fake. Oh, the communication, what feels fake? Wait, the communication or the parts of you that had to die? Just a clarifier. Or is the communication feels fake? Because sometimes it feels fake, but it's not. It's if you shift your perspective of it and see it from that, well, how can I bring my compassion into this level of communication? Oh, professional communication. That's why I thank you for clarifying. So it feels fake at work because you don't care about those people. Instead, shift the perspective to, how do I communicate in a healthier way that doesn't create a dysregulated nervous system in someone else who's already dysregulated so that it doesn't escalate the situation? And when you speak in a more calm and a more neutral manner, everything de-escalates. It's only impersonal if you don't give a crap about the person and you are using it as a manner to get yourself away from a situation you don't belong in. But when you're dealing with the people who you love and the people that you want to be a part of and help, that would mean you're the example of what different looks like. You're actually giving them a gift. At least the ones that tried to play that card on me, just feelable from the books. Okay, gotcha. So if those folks are fake, of course it feels fake. You're spot on. When it's someone who genuinely loves you for who you are and sees you for who you are and loves you through all of your changes and journeys and on your journey for a while, like the folks in your life that you truly value, that receive you, that's not going to feel fake at all. If you're receiving that from someone who is fake, well, it's fake. You're not wrong. That doesn't, that's fine. It just tells you you're not in resonance with them, right? Because we're looking for that coherence. We're looking for that resonance. It's information for you. It tells you they're not the ones that are supposed to be in your experience, right? We want to just be a better version of ourselves for the folks that we absolutely love and want to help heal, not by force, not by interjection, but by example, if that makes sense. So learn how to speak in a way that is kind and relevant and truthful and respectful in your inner circle, with your friends, with those that you value. Set your boundaries with that tone. Set your boundaries with the same softness. When my son does that to me, it pisses me off and takes me a while before I see his strength and love. Okay, so in that, for you, in your heart, in what ways have you been so violated and betrayed by others with fake language that it's your initial reaction is to think of the worst instead of taking that word as true? So there's part of you that's like needs to learn how to believe and trust again when it doesn't apply to certain people. And your dynamic with your son might be whatever it is based on your experiences together. I mean, and that depends on how he experienced you as a mom. And so if he's coming to you with language in order to keep you at bay and not connect with you in that way, that's part of you guys' healing journey, and learning how to navigate those waters and learning how to receive and not to receive and how to communicate and not to communicate. The strength and the love of the bond between mother and child is very powerful, and it's the most painful as well. I can say that from my personal experience. It's the most powerful and the most painful experience. If you want to know what true love is, love a child who loves you back. Love a child who trusts you from the beginning. Love a child from a place of nurturing and understanding. And that understanding has to include that sometimes we're the problem. Sometimes we're the ones who dysregulated their nervous systems when we weren't on this healing journey that we are, and when we didn't know what we know now, or when we weren't capable and nor had the capacity to show up for them in a way that would foster healthy growth and evolution for them. So what we learn now, the communication, the stepping back and pausing, the don't take things personally, yes, I'm sorry. But I'm not sorry because this is all, we're healing this together. We are definitely all healing this together, especially that the family relationships that we want to hold on to, because there's more joy than there is sadness and hurt. But we're all still growing as human beings. We're all still having our own human experience and trying to figure it out. So we need to hold space for ourselves in that and allow ourselves to go closer to what we need to do. Empower the child to know how to show up and love others, be kind, understanding, and respecting, not only for themselves, but for others. Yes, yes. Especially to our kids, we are an example. And when it comes to kids, whether they're biological or not, they're still kids in your life. Because I've even spoken to like teachers. Their kids are their classroom. That's their kids, and they take that very seriously. So how we show up matters, and understanding that we're kind of growing up with them. We didn't learn emotional regulation. It wasn't a thing when we were growing up. There wasn't the science to back things up the way we have the science now, the research studies to back things up the way we have them now. The world has expanded. We can't stay the same. We do need to give ourselves permission to show up very differently, especially with those that we love around us, especially with children. It's monkey see, monkey do. That's the nature of things. They're watching you. How I've caught myself saying, do as I say, don't do as I do. Yeah, no. That's not what's going to happen. They're going to do what you do. What's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. So if you're focused on who am I and who do I want to be and how do I show up and what can I learn to show up better and show up better, your kids are going to notice the difference. I'm still on my journey with my kids and healing my relationships with my kids. My job now as a parent, because they're still alive, and I can still, I say that as a joke, but the reality is like we were all in survival. We all survived. And now we're at this place, and I'm in a place and in a position to show up different. The more I show up different, the more we heal, the more we connect with one another, and the more we have this deep compassion and understanding for one another. And the bond doesn't go away. It never goes away. The pain is so strong because the love is so strong. So with that note, remember, what does it say? If you swear, so will they. If you're passive, they will be too. If you're understanding and loving, so will they. Yes. Show up how you want them to show up. Monkey see, monkey do. They're going to watch you and do what you do because they're desperate for you to guide them. Even though they're telling you, I don't want anything to do with you and stay out of my life. They're desperate for you to guide them. You just have to sound different consistently. No back and forth to the old way, to the new way. No false apologies. Learn what real apologies sound like with accountability and repair. And take that out into the world, just showing up different out into the world. Okay. But we need to show up differently for ourselves first and get to know ourselves. So with that note, I'm going to leave you with the understanding that you matter so much. You matter to the point where you affect everyone around you, whether you notice it or not, you do. With great power comes great responsibility. Thank you, Stan Lee and Spider-Man, for that phrase that I keep repeating. But that's the truth. You have to show up differently for yourself. Get to know you and be different. Let's make this world a better place, one person at a time, one regulated nervous system at a time. I love you all so much. Thank you. Mwah. They're me. Go find me, healingrose.org. Healingrose.org. That's my website. That's my booking platform. And you can find me on all the socials. And I love you. Just be love. Be the love. Bye.
From the soil of your sorrow, petals from pain, new color in tomorrow. You
Hey, this is Brindle Wolf.
And I'm Lunaria.
You're listening to Rise Awakenings, part of the Rise Radio Network where advice meets action.
We're here to spark your growth, lift your spirit, and help you crush your potential.
Rise awakening, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice where dreams awaken in time. Rise awakening, now is the time.
Rise Awakenings,